I gotta go, man. Go ahead, do it here. I'll be right back. Hey, lovely. How about a free treat tonight? Just the three of us. Sorry, darling, I only treat men. We're men. What do you want, man? The devil. Your face. After spending a long night at the hospital, suffering from a dislocated shoulder, Joseph and his wife, Bridget, were now at the police station. Bridget impatiently gawked at the people before her, who had been talking to the officer for nearly an hour. Finally, seeing them get up to leave, she quickly pushed Joseph. Let's go. Are you gonna sit here all day? Sweetheart, we didn't need to do this. You don't have to tell me what we need to do. What happened? My name is Joseph Sanders. I work at the BII hospital. Oh, so you're a doctor? He's not a doctor, he's a dermatologist. Joe, stop beating around the bush and tell him why we're here. With a deep sigh, Joseph said, we live in a quarter about 20 minutes away from the hospital. Joseph and Bridget were both from a small town in Montana. After facing many obstacles and struggling to finish his doctorate, Joseph got a job at the BII hospital in his hometown. It was while he was studying there that he and Bridget met, and just 2 years into their relationship, got married. However, Bridget had only married him in greed for his status as a doctor. But after their marriage, when she realized he was a dermatologist, she became disappointed and looked down on him. She regretted her decision, and hence their relationship wasn't at its best. But despite everything, Joseph loved her and always tried to make things work. Years later, Joseph got a transfer to another hospital branch in the city. As the head of the dermatology department, he thought this would be his big break, but things didn't turn out as he hoped. After moving here, he realized how bad the neighborhood was. The crime rate in this area was very high. In fact, many a times Joseph witnessed bodies being brought into the hospital to which no one took any claim. Now back at home, instead of their relationship getting better, it only got worse. And in all this, it was last night, in the snow and sleet, Joseph and Bridget were returning home around 9:30 p.m. when they were halted by some goons who snatched from them all their things. The bag, your phone, wallets, handed over. Take it, just please, leave us alone. What a wuss. You're his girl? What is a beautiful woman like you doing with a loser like him? Don't waste your life with him, baby. Come with me. We'll turn your life around. We'll make you happy in ways he could never make you. It was as the men were leaving, Joseph, in a hurry to get away, slipped on the ice and dislocated his shoulder. What a loser. Bridget, I think we need to go to the hospital. Pathetic. With Bridget's help, they returned to the hospital where Joseph was admitted. "Here are some painkillers. Take them and try to sleep. You'll be better in the morning." "It better be. We need to go and report this." "Report? No, sweetheart. That's not a good idea. These people, they might try taking revenge. You don't know what they're capable of." Joseph was reluctant to come to the police station. But the next morning, Bridget wouldn't listen to anything and brought him. "My coat was right here. How could it go missing? Someone stole my coat." "Look, you got a job in a hospital where even patients get their things stolen." "So they didn't physically hurt you?" "No, sir, they didn't." "They took your bag, wallet, and phone, correct?" "Yes, sir." The officer called one of his assistants. "Roger, can you bring in the evidence from last night?" His assistant brought out something familiar. "Are these your things?" Yes, this is it. But how did you find it?" "Last night, while you were in the hospital, someone slashed them all, sliced their faces off." "Goodness, how horrible. Who could do something like this?" "They deserved it." "We're trying to get to the bottom of the case, and unfortunately, we won't be able to give you your items until we run some tests as part of the investigation. After that, we'll inform you and you can take your things back." "All right, sir." Without much more they could do about the situation, Bridget and Joseph returned home. "What happened last night?" "I don't know where he came from, but I saw him. He doesn't have a face. It's like his face was melted by acid. He had no nose, no mouth." The following 2 days, Joseph was at home trying to recover from the persistent pain. He was having trouble wearing his clothes, eating food, or even picking things up. And despite seeing his struggle, Bridget was always moody and didn't help him. On Friday afternoon, Joseph was scheduled for an X-ray, but he was a little nervous to go. "Sweetheart, are you really not coming with me to the hospital?" "Why do you need me to go? Because you're scared of being mugged again?" "I can't sit in the waiting room for hours. You can go yourself." So Joseph went for his X-ray alone that afternoon, and after a long 5 hours, he returned home exhausted at around 7 p.m. But when he stepped inside, he was confused to see the house was empty. Bridget, where did she go? 2 days passed since Bridget had gone missing. Joseph tried contacting her relatives and friends, but no one knew anything about her. Alas, hopelessly, he went to the police. "Officer, my wife has gone missing." Bridget didn't know how she got here or who had brought her. But when she woke up, she was horrified to find herself shackled in a filthy, putrid room. She tried shouting, but the windows were boarded up. She tried breaking off the shackles, but failed. She tried pulling her hands out, but only injured herself and gave up. The chains were so short, she couldn't even reach the window. In hopelessness, she leaned on the walls, shivering in the cold and extremely hungry. But suddenly, the door creaked open, and a man stepped inside. Please don't hurt me. I'll do anything you want. You don't have to force me." Bridget was horrified when she looked upon his face. He brought in a bucket and threw it next to her. and a can he opened with a knife and threw it to her feet. Bridget was disgusted by the cold, raw tuna, but she was so hungry. In the middle of the night, when the temperature had fallen and she couldn't bear the cold anymore, she picked it up and ate. Days after days went by. The man kept her locked up. He neither spoke to her nor did anything to her, but Bridget wasn't suffering. The walls were growing fungus. She couldn't even lean back. There were cockroaches and mice constantly crawling around her. Every night, the man returned to replace the bucket, which was for Bridget to relieve herself, and left throwing her a can of tuna. Bridget's clothes had become spoiled. Her skin started developing a rash. She couldn't even breathe properly in the horrible stench. As she lay in the cold each night, she remembered Joseph and wondered, would she ever return home again? 3 months had passed since Bridget had gone missing. Joseph had contacted the police many times, but they couldn't find her. Living in their home, now all alone, Joseph felt so depressed and grieved. But it was late one night. Joseph heard a faint knock on his door. He opened up, shocked to see she had become pale and emaciated. There were bruises and rashes all over her body. Her condition was painful to see. Bridget? She began crying as she looked at him. He kept me locked up all these days, Joe. But tonight, he unlocked me and just let me go. Joseph immediately took her in. After a long time, Bridget finally took a shower, had some good food, and laid down in the comfort of her bed. How did this happen? I got injured from the shackles. Take this medicine, and this ointment should take care of the rash. Bridget suddenly realized how valuable her husband was. With his care, she started to get better. She couldn't help but be grateful for him. Sweetheart, I made you some chicken soup. Joe, did you have dinner? No. Let's have this together. The couple started living their lives again, a better life. But one night, while they were asleep, Bridget suddenly heard a strange clicking noise and woke up. She sat up startled to see a man had broken in and was standing just a distance away with a knife. Joe, wake up. What is it? When Joe got up, he froze. The man snickered at him. You look so innocent. You won't get away for what you did to my brother. That night, those men had been killed. Jackson had gone to a nearby alley to relieve himself. But as he was returning, he witnessed a man approach them and take their lives. That night, Jackson followed the man in secret to this house. But ever since Bridget had gone missing, the police had been keeping surveillance on the house, which made it difficult for him to break in. But now, he had Joseph at his mercy. Sir, you're mistaking. It wasn't me. I didn't do anything. I don't know your brother. Shut up, you sick liar. I followed you that night to this house. No, I have seen the man's face. It's not Joe. I know it was him. Sir, believe me, I was in the hospital that whole night. I couldn't even move. My shoulder was dislocated. How can I do something like this? Today you'll see how it feels to get your face sliced off. Just as the man was to charge at Joseph, all of a sudden, there was a loud noise outside. In seconds, police barged in, holding down Jackson. The police had continued their surveillance undercover, finding it very suspicious to why this kidnapper would let her go without demanding anything in return. It was him. He's the killer. He took the life of my brother. I followed him to this house. No, officer. I have seen the man's face. It can't be Joe. Our undercops have noticed you around here a long time ago. Your game is over. That night, the police finally arrested the culprit, and after some questioning, let Joseph and Bridget be. What a night. So scary. He followed him to this house? After all the unfair treatment, hard work, and struggle, Joseph has reached this point in his life and success by forbearance and suppressing his rage. But that night, when those men treated Bridget so horribly right in front of him, he couldn't take it anymore. He truly loved Bridget tremendously. And that night, when he was on painkillers asleep in the hospital, his rage subconsciously gave birth to a different personality within him, his dual personality, the Punisher. While everyone had fallen asleep, while Bridget had dozed off in the chair, Joseph left the room and picked up a coat to disguise himself. He then went to one of the morgue laboratories, where unidentified bodies or unclaimed bodies were kept. Joseph had been running a personal experiment of his, taking skin samples from these bodies and testing them. He experimented to see if it was possible to bond different skin, and through his efforts, made this mask. He wore the mask and went out in search of those men, and took their lives in cold blood before he returned home, where he hid the mask once more. And before anyone could realize, he returned to the hospital and took his place. Joseph's alter personality remained dormant, only unleashing itself by night. But the day Bridget insulted him and refused to accompany him to the hospital, the Punisher returned. He drugged her and brought her to an abandoned house, where he gave her worthy punishment. However, when his alter personality realized his other personality was hurt and depressed without Bridget, he chose to let her go again. But now, Bridget has become suspicious. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.